really honored to be here and share this with you. My story is that I was experiencing poor health, and I'm a healer, and that was really frustrating for me. I'm 43, thinking, look, I don't want to keep going through life feeling uncomfortable or accepting that aging is what we're going to experience and that it's going to be painful. And I felt like my career was done because I work on my feet and I'm, using my body weight to do healing work. And I would go mobile to the hotels and I'd be having people at my home. And that's everything to me. It's my passion. So 6 years ago, I was working full time in my own business. I had my own team. And it just hit me because I started exercising more than ever. And the exercise, it's not that it gave me arthritis, but it actually awoke what was already hiding inside of me. So I was doing circuit training. I was doing gym work that I'd never done in my life. So I thought, oh, work harder. I've got to work harder and be more in shape. I can't even do a proper push-up because my arm would just give out. Or I'd do squats and my knees would burn. And those are actually danger signs. But the trainers, many trainers, and these were like, top notch. They were training the werewolves in Twilight. You guys know Twilight. Like the whole team was there doing like werewolf, vampire, hard workouts. And I was joining in. And these elite trainers were not recognizing that there was an issue. So I kept training hard. And before I knew it, I went into a deep depression for like a year because I physically felt like cement was pouring into my body and my body was ballooning up. Like I gained 40 pounds just in water weight. So this happened 6 years ago. I didn't know for a year what was wrong with me. And I was so foggy in my brain, like I could not think. And I was constantly laying down and my feet were burning. And so I learned all through experience what arthritis really feels like, and I didn't even know what it was. So I was instinctively drawn to things to help myself. So I was doing all kinds of things, and I've been since my early 20s very keen on organic foods and health, and specifics on how to take herbs and do things naturally. I even was in and around the medical world when I was growing up, like younger than that, because of my father's poor health. So I've seen a lot of aspects up really close about health, death, disease. And I also just have a belief, a really strong belief, that we can heal and we can reverse disease. But if we give up and we think this is how it looks, life, getting sick and not being able to operate or function, then we don't look or be open to solutions. So I'm even writing a book about it because I'm that passionate about it's information and a belief that needs to be shared so that we access this type of healing. And so I've been trying for 6 years, reversing the disease, using things like turmeric and using like really high quality stuff that not the stuff you shake into your curry, right? Like that's usually, it's still good, but it's not as potent. So I was getting like raw organic forms of turmeric. I was doing ashwagandha. I was doing sodium bicarbonate. I was doing all types of chemistry, just like how Apolo Ohno was doing chemistry to bump himself up. I was doing it to try to save my body, save my life, be able to stand, be able to walk, because my ankle would just give out like randomly, stuff like that. Because what arthritis is, and I had an x-ray, what arthritis is a breakdown in your spine. So if you're not getting nutrients, and if you're actually absorbing metals that come through our tap water, or even pressing a gas pedal gives off a type of metal, cadmium, I believe it's called. There's so many kinds of toxins that we don't realize we're absorbing into our bone structure. And when our bone structure isn't strong, we get things like cavity or things like arthritis because the nerves are pinching in the spine. And my x-ray showed that I have arthritis in my neck. And it was reflecting in my teeth, this lack of nutrients. And even though I have a clean diet and, I try to do spirulina all the time and do like green smoothies and such, I still wasn't getting that consistent dose. And all the things I needed to heal the inflammation, I just couldn't keep up with. I need this and I need this and I need this. And so when my sponsor came on, Hitesh came, and he said, well, look what's in this. And I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, what? All of this is in one glass? I recognized all those things that were going to heal me. Specifically this past year, like never before, I was experiencing premenopausal issues, which the doctors were wanting to give me a hysterectomy. That's the normal procedure for women past their 40s. They start just wanting to remove because they're afraid, oh, it's cancer. They don't, or you need hormonal replacement, which is really toxic for your body. And I was just like, no, guys, I stay away from you. You're fear oriented. I can't handle this. And I kept searching out, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It took me a year to figure out a couple of things. And Genesis was a major answer. It put an end and balanced out my hormones. I was excessively bleeding, like 10 weeks at a time, buckets of blood, like a lot of blood. And it was like, am I going to die? So here I was suffering from arthritis, trying to reverse that, then this on top. And Genesis just smacked it all in the face within a day.
Wow.
And that to me, in a day, like that blood was stopped within that day. And I knew that it was going to be the right thing, but actually experiencing it was a whole nother thing. I felt like Frankenstein's bride. I was like shaky, like little things where like the nerves are coming back to life. So this right side was like electrifying, like it was electricity and I could actually see it. And I was like, as if I was on a little electronic machine. Do you know what I mean? When they do the muscle stimulation, it was like doing that to me it took about a week or so that just started happening. And I mean, the power it has to reverse disease is amazing. So to think, I always want to be my optimal self. I want to be positive. I want to have energy, because it's so easy to be no energy and be really depressed and not really live your life, or to get out there and be climbing the mountain and finally living your life, but you're still broken and feel like crap. So this to me, Genesis was like a huge answer for me. I recognized it, but then actually taking it was like taking things beyond, and just, it's going to be amazing to actually reverse all this. What's going to happen once I'm past needing the reversal of the disease? And then I haven't even added those dosages of Mastermind.
Wow.
So the power of the product, I know you guys are mostly taking Mastermind. Is anyone taking Genesis?
Yeah, I think there's a few. Yep.
Yeah.
I have everybody muted right now, but.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of the Mastermind mix in the Genesis, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the power of taking the Genesis is this. It's got that hemofulvate in it, which removes anything that's blocking you from actually receiving all those nutrients that are in Genesis, but also it removes anything in the way that's blocking you from receiving the Mastermind mix on its own even. All those herbs, you can't absorb them the same way if you've got toxins blocking. If there's metals in your bone, it's blocking from there being room to absorb the different minerals and the different nutrients. So the power of Genesis is going to take you that much further in optimizing by removing whatever's in the way of it actually repairing or strengthening your bones. And that's the thing, you could enhance your brain all you want, but if you're actually not nourishing your bones or your muscles, because your muscles require calcium to move, and if you're not nourishing, your body will break down. So it's good to have this nutrient period. There's different aspects that we really need on a consistent basis. And there may be times when you don't feel like you need that hemofulvate and you can coast through those periods. But I definitely recommend, especially if you're having disease type issues, to get in and use that hemofulvate. But even if you aren't experiencing disease at this point, you don't know what's hidden. Because sometimes if, let's say you just haven't pushed yourself physically or even mentally to experience that, you know what, I'm not a superhero right now. I am not running like a cheetah. Like, we really have these powers that we haven't tapped into. And with those types of nutrients, and those types of extracts that are in Genesis, we can push ourselves physically further.
Yeah, that's great. So, like, just out of curiosity here, how long were you suffering from all this, the pain that you were having, the arthritis, and all the health issues? How long were you think the total is that you were suffering for?
Yeah, so end of 2009 is when I really was starting to just stay in bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been on Genesis?
And I was like, my muscles were so, and what did I say? What'd you say?
Oh, sorry, no, continue. You were saying?
My muscles would spasm so bad that I was like in odd positions, like crippled positions, and screaming in pain at times and that is lack of nutrients. That right there is lack of magnesium, calcium. Like, that's huge. And if your body is in a lot of disease issues, such as, like, people always, oh, that's fibromyalgia, which there's so many little increments of what is fibromyalgia, right? Yeah. Thanks, Wayne. And that's the thing. Like, it's so powerful that the Genesis hits notes, like even the probiotics, it hits different notes. So 6 years ago is when I first suffering from arthritis, and I've done lots of things. That's why I'm writing a book, to reverse that disease and to be able to be walking and working and being my optimal self. But then Genesis came along and really pushed me out of what I was experiencing with the premenopausal stuff, and as well as the arthritis, and just helping deep repair of the nerves. It's really neurological.
Yeah, and how long have you been taking the Genesis now?
Yeah, so I started taking Genesis in November, and I took them just 2 weeks at a time, kind of thing. And because the demand, the supplies weren't always in,
right?
Because they're just getting used to supplying it to people, right? And they can't keep up with that demand, but they're getting there. And I'm getting my refill tonight. So, sometimes there'll be like a week lag where I was like, but then the cool thing about it is I was experiencing, oh, this is what it feels without Genesis. I could coast about 5 days without Genesis, and then I start to feel like, and even a certain smell comes on from having these types of diseases. Wow. I could tell within about 5 days this sort of like, I can tell the difference of when I'm not repairing, because there's still a lot of repair and balance to be doing, even though, I have a pretty clean diet.
Yeah. You wouldn't.
And the big thing I noticed, like, result-wise, is it thins me out. Even within 2 weeks' time, it thins me out because it's taking all that swelling and all that water retention out, as well as all the pain, right?
Yeah. So Genesis to you is not going to be a product that you're going to take just now until you feel better, and then you'll stop taking it. What would you describe this product to you?
I think it's definitely a foundation for nutrients, and because of the deep greens and that constant cleansing with the hemofolate, like to constantly feel like you're removing any toxins that you don't see, right?
Right.
But it's also made me very sensitive to, oh, I really don't want this can. I can taste, my palate has become very sensitive to noticing, hey, guess what? This slowed me down to eat this piece of meat. And I stopped eating meat because I felt like it was excessive. It was slowing me back down. It was unnecessary because I was getting the actual nutrients I needed. And I wasn't doing the munchie trips, like, oh, let's go get chocolate, let's go get chips. It was like, oh, that's great, you have your chocolate, your chips. I just don't crave it. Or even I don't crave coffee, and that's something that I would do regularly just to sort of pick up my metabolism a little bit, give it a bit of a kick. Not that I'm against any of it. I think we have our times and moments, right? But I noticed it was fulfilling this ongoing craving that my body was craving and wasn't satisfying. But then I find that the Genesis satisfies. So I'm really instinctive and sensitive to, do I need it? Yeah, I need another refill because there's a lot more healing to do. And it's just like, oh man, it's like that it's like a meal that just feels like from the gods. Like it really is satisfying. Why would you miss out on it? It's very potent.
Yeah.
The effect that I feel from it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like we've actually, I'm really glad you came on here to share this with my team, because I remember just how emotional and it was, when you're telling your story and being right there with Apollo and, sharing it with him, and really like he was just so, he himself, just you could see the compassion that he had, and he was happy and proud to be able to bring this to you and to help people that what you were going through, to have that life changing. That's a very strong heart connection to that product, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I really don't think at that point, I don't think he realized how it's going to affect people who aren't healthy. And like I was on the verge of, cancer scares, and that's put to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the power of the dosage of the different items that are in there, specifically turmeric is a killer of cancer, but to repair cells, all just the whole matching. He didn't realize what it would do for people who are actually aging and sick. He was just thinking, oh, everyone can be their healthy optimum self. But
Right.
when he really saw, oh my gosh, this saved your life,
Yeah.
like this actually is helping you enjoy your life.
Yeah. No kidding.
Wow, right?
Yeah.
So, and I just was brought to tears knowing that how many people it really is going to help.
Yeah.
And then until they try it, it's going to be their own experience of what is really, because sometimes people don't even know what's wrong with them, but the nutrients know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd like to just quickly unmute anybody, because maybe someone might have some questions for you. Is it okay if we just do a quick little thing here? And hey, everyone, you guys are all unmuted. If you guys have any questions for Julia at all, please ask away.
Julia, I just want to say thank you for sharing that. That is awesome. I'm going to share this with a few of my friends who are really not doing well, and they don't know why, again. So that is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Right on.
Thank you, Julie.
Anybody else?
So when you said that when you were taking it, it pretty much was the day. Because obviously, like being skeptical, I said to Mum, I wonder if it's when people are taking the product, is it a big mind trick? Oh yeah, I'm on an awesome tablet. My mind's gonna play these games with me. That's honestly how I thought before I got the product. But same as you, like it's that feeling of so with the, not so much for me, I suppose, with the Genesis, but more with the Mastermind for me. So when you said you took the Genesis and it literally helped you in that day, what was the feeling of knowing how it worked on you? Like, what was the feeling, sort of thinking, wow, I could not stop taking this now? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a mind trick. It literally is your brain just got fed and it's able to help it, and so did everywhere else.
What was I feeling?
Yeah.
Like emotionally?
Yep.
Relief, because I felt like I've been running forever trying to keep up with supplying what my body needed and not actually getting it, and giving up all the time. So you get a little bit of what you need and you don't have quite the right combo. Maybe you ran out of something, and then you slide back down the hill and let's eat pop and chips and no, who cares? Like there's this feeling of like, oh my God, just throw me off a cliff already, and yet wanting to get back up and be like, I can do this. I want to live. Like it's that decision to wanting to live. And when people don't really want to heal themselves, they push healing away. And maybe it's something to me was like, I kept getting up saying, I've got to, even though people can't understand what I'm going through. Like, a lot of people don't believe, oh, I can't see what it is that you're experiencing. So you must be, making it up or something. But I knew like, it was affecting my mind, it's affecting my body, my mood, and that's sad, right? So there's this sense of, yes, I can live and we can make miracles, because when you're happy and you're physically feeling good, so many wonderful things can happen, and you have the energy to just do the dishes and stand up and make a meal, and just those simple things like make such a difference in your life. So when it fit right and actually stopped this heavy bleeding, I was just like thank the Lord. Like, who cares if it's a placebo? It's working. And nothing else was working. You know, I took pharmaceuticals and I knew that wasn't feeling good. But they give you different pharmaceuticals to try to stop it. But they just overall just lots of fear in the medical system. They just want to tear it out. They just kept calling me, you need to you know, take a look at this further. And I was just like, oh, that's not the way. So it was nice to feel like, and it's funny how those two, you know, burdened me, like both the menagoria and osteoarthritis. Like, I was dying, right? Like I really felt like I am dying and I don't know if I'm going to make it, you know, and even if I do make it, I don't know how comfortable it's going to be.
Yeah, you
So it was
I can't wait to read your book. I really can't wait to read your book and pass it on. You talking like that, like you've got, we've got a few friends that have obviously, you know, that sort of thing. To know that it's helped you, like to be able to have your book is going to be an awesome tool, and to know that, you know, you're behind it. We've met you as well, and I'm very jealous that you've been a follow on it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
it's gonna be beautiful. So you're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie, for coming on and sharing your story with us. You have a website that anyone can go to read up more about you and stuff?
Yeah. You can always look me up on Facebook, Julie Dujardin, but also you'll recognize my picture probably. I think I'm dancing with my husband in the profile right now at the Allysian Gala. So also my sparklebomb.com is my healing website. And there's even a live chat through there. You can just email me if you want to ask me anything or just see what I'm all about. And it's Sparkle Bomb, like sparkle and then BALM.com.
Awesome.